Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Clack, Chit Chat, episode 1. I'm Digital Cast, and this is a personal project I've been wanting to do for a while.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and
welcome to
for some reason,
Chit
the
Chat
audio is rebounding. I was watching the stream, sorry there. But my special guest, premier pilot guest, Minimise OC, Jackson White. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. Always good to see you.
Likewise, and like I gotta say, we were just having a chat about you showed me your room and all that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden you pulled out a Pip-Boy. So do you want to show the stream that as well?
As you can see,
that's a big
strapped.
fucking thing. This guy's packing weight.
You got all the tools you need.
Oh yeah, walk us
Show
through
you
it.
your map. You got your radio.
Oh yeah,
See,
it looks like
see your radiation levels. Yeah, pretty
because
much
you're
everything
absolutely radical. Well, dude, so obviously you're the captain of Team Nebula right now, right? And it's been a solid year-ish. So outside of Valorant, you obviously play other games. You mentioned once that like with Centimeters you played Civilization, but I think that's boring as fuck. So what else do you play?
Well, I used to play a lot more games than I play now. I think.
Okay. A lot more time spent playing games, or a lot more variety?
A lot more variety. Like right now, I just play Valorant, obviously.
Right.
I play a little bit of Splitgate, a little bit of Stardew Valley.
Stardew?
What's that? The Motorways game? Mini Motorways? I don't know if you've heard of that. I like playing strategy games and puzzle games.
Right. So it seems like you really like, having your mind active and everything, so you can think all the time. And is that part of like what makes you such a good IGL in Valorant, Nebula? Or am I just taking the piss?
I don't think the games that I play provide to my IGLing. But like I've always had like phases of games. So like
alright.
I'll play one game for like an extended period of time. And like since I was like 10, went through like lots of different phases. I had the Call of Duty phase, the CSGO phase, Dota 2 phase, Gary's mod phase.
Wait, so since you were 10, how old are you now?
I'm 18.
You're 18, so over 8 years, and right now it's 2021. So in about 2013, which Call of Duty was that?
2013. That would have been what?
Ghosts.
9 years ago.
COD Ghosts was the first COD game that you played.
Oh, what else? Well, I played Call of Duty for a long time, like since I was like 7, I'd say.
Pro mod?
So I played like first one I played would have been Modern Warfare 2.
That's the real OGs. It was the best.
But like my parents wouldn't let me play online.
Why not?
Because I was 7 and they're a bit crazy over there on the online.
Makes sense. Oh look, man, Aplo, he had to just redeem the flex, so I might as well. Oh no, my Moobot's on. There is no bracket caster maps or score right now. And also, guys in the chat, if you have any questions you want to ask Minimise, feel free, just ask in the chat, and odds are, if it's a family-friendly question, he may answer. He may not. We'll see what happens. So, continue with that. So, you had your phases, and you had Call of Duty, you had Dota, and currently Splitgate, which I think is absolutely... It's okay. Like, for some of my level, it's so easy. It's such a piss-easy game to play.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite at the same level as you, obviously, so...
Oh, well, thank you.
It's pretty hard for me. But, I don't really... Splitgate's just fun to chill down with. It's not really something I could play for like an extended period of time.
Right.
But it's fun to hop on and just shoot people. But like, yeah, when I was like 7, played Modern Warfare 2, moved to Black Ops. I love Black Ops. Probably my favorite Call of Duty. The first Black Ops.
Why is it your favorite though? Because the first Black Ops, it felt very different.
Probably nostalgia. But also like...
Well, nostalgia as in you fought in like World War One and you were like a Black Ops soldier or something.
Nah, just because like I have so many memories attached to that game. I have like sleepovers at my house. We just stay up all night playing Black Ops Zombies. Kid on the toe and split screen.
Oh my god. But as always, your parents, they wouldn't allow you to play online.
Well, when I played Black Ops, I used to just secretly play online.
Secretly play online? Wi-Fi back then, or like no?
Yeah, Wi-Fi. I had Wi-Fi back then.
Long time ago, I gotta lie. I won't lie, but then again, for you, it's maybe not so bad because you were born into the age of like technology. Back when I was young, I saw VHS tapes, DVDs, all kind of nonsense. Wow. And you said you play less games now. Variety. Valorant's obviously your main priority. And Stardew Valley, that's like a more calm sort of strategy, pre-planning the farmer simulator, but anime style. And then you also have what was it? Highways? What's it called?
Mini motorways.
Mini motorways, right. And so you're also trying to be like a civil engineer, designing like, pathways, that kind of stuff. And the other game you played, Splitgate. Fair enough. So a little bit of a variety thing. Now, speaking of Stardew, right, it's a very different kind of game and aesthetic to what you play now. So it brings me to the next question. Do you watch like anime? Because it's a bit of a weeb game, in my opinion. In my opinion, right? Don't hate on me. I just find it to be very weird.
I mean, I wouldn't really say like the pixel art and anime art's related, but I don't really watch too much anime.
No,
I
not
just
at all.
watch a bit, but like only like the mainstream ones like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
Didn't really go too in deep in anime.
You ever watch Bleach?
No.
Good, because I think it's terrible. The author he lost like faith in the story towards the very end, and it just became an absolute mess. Now there is actually a question in the chat, and from Baka Janayo. When you started to play Valorant, did you ever expect to go pro? Because that was like a year plus ago.
Well, I did play Valorant with knowing that I wanted to compete.
Okay.
Even before the game came out.
Right.
Because I was playing CS:GO at the time, and I was never anything good in CS.
What rank?
Really. Well, the highest rank I ever got would have been like Supreme, but obviously matchmaking is kind of useless. Most people play Face It because matchmaking is just hackers and stuff like that.
True.
But like, I didn't even do that well on Face It. I think highest Face It level I got was like 6 or something like that.
Right.
But I just enjoyed playing it for fun, and then I played CS:GO since the age of 12, or even younger, like 11. And I joined my first CS:GO team at like the age of 13.
So what got you into joining a team?
I just always like, whenever I play a game,
Yeah.
I just feel the need to like take it further, if you know what I mean.
Stardew Valley?
Like, Stardew Valley is more like intentional relaxation, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. Therapy.
But like if I'm spending a large amount of time on something, I want to feel like I'm progressing towards something. Otherwise, it kind of just feels like I'm wasting time.
Right, I see. So for CSGO, obviously, very young, 11, and how was it like, what was it like for you trying to grasp the concepts of such like, I want to call it a super high skill ceiling game. It is, but like, when you were 11, how did the game feel to you? Were you just running around and all you thought was, point, click, shoot, not much strategy to it? Or from a very young age, you already had this very strategic mindset, you thought about how to win, how to execute a side take, that kind of stuff?
Look, when I was really young, I was just hitting the aim trainers every day and then just shooting heads pretty much. I wasn't really thinking much at all. I wouldn't even say like I was that good.
Right.
But like, obviously back then, because I was so young, I had a lot of people that were like trying to coach me and stuff like that because they thought I had like potential or whatever.
Yep.
So I legit had people that would come up to me and like try to teach me stuff. But I had a really bad experience with teammates and stuff like that, so ended up quitting like competitive CS like at the age of 13, 14.
So when you first started, trying how to play CS a little bit more seriously, that's when you realized, man, I hate this shit, and then you quit.
Something like that. Look, the online world is pretty toxic.
True.
Especially at a younger age, it's kind of hard to deal with all that toxicity. And like, I always think like, if I could go back and I just kept with it, I could have been something, but like, it was way too stressful for me at the time. Obviously you have pressure from your parents and stuff to do well in school, so it's hard for me to just like put so much time into a game because as soon as one thing goes wrong, it's like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah. Well, speaking of school, because I understand that right now you're still quite young. You are still in school.
Well, I finished school.
High
Currently,
school.
yeah, finished high school. Currently
Right.
studying computer science.
At uni.
Yeah.
So how do you? So hang on. Let me get this straight, right? Because I know, and for those in the audience who don't know exactly what Minimize does, right? Him as the IGL of like Nebula, this guy does VOD. He watches VOD reviews like you would watch anime. It is ridiculous. This guy tunes in, all the time. And he scours through the VODs, half speed, rewatches all those scenes just to figure out how to execute and the habits of like under the team. How do you actually find the time to study? I would assume full time and still try to do so much research for Valorant.
Well, you just do like slip things in. Obviously, at the moment, I've switched to part-time uni just for these 6 months this
Right.
semester.
Right.
But before, like earlier this year, I was working like 2 jobs while studying and IGLing, and it was really stressful, which is why I stopped. But like, you just gotta find time and like just prioritize what you're doing. Like, what do you want to achieve when you get home? Just go from the top, do what's the highest priority, go down from there.
Hey, makes sense, man. Holy crap. I think I remember talking to you way back then, back when we both started in the scene, kind of. And you said back then you were working, one job I know was at a Italian restaurant as a dishwasher. What was the second job?
I was working at a factory and I was like gluing chairs.
Gluing. Oh, you're like 18 and you can get work at a factory to glue chairs?
Yeah, I saw it on Gumtree and I just applied. And it was like good paying jobs, like 25 per hour. And like everyone there was like in their 30s except for me. And I'm just there gluing chairs.
Child labor. That thing right there, child slavery. Wait. So is this like an actual like full scale production factory like IKEA, or are we talking like a little shop in someone's like backyard or something?
It was like a local business,
Right.
but it was like, I had like a workbench and I had like a glue gun and I would just glue cushions on seat, like glue fabric, glue all
Okay.
this stuff. I would say it was like pretty industrialized, pretty fast paced.
And there's like a conveyor belt in front of you that just moves the bits and pieces past. Like, because as soon as you say factory, like the first thing that comes to mind is like, China style. You have all these guys just working like robots.
Well, you have trolleys. So you would, glue something,
Yeah.
put it on the trolley, move the trolley when you had like the whole trolley filled up, put it there, get another trolley, come back.
Well, how big's the trolley?
Probably like.
Okay, you looking up
6.
there, it makes me think it's really big.
Well, it was like 4 meters high
Oh my god.
by like 3 meters. And then you just push it around.
Right. So when you said trolley, I was thinking in my mind like, a standard like food cart trolley. I was thinking, well, that's pretty fucking inefficient if you're like putting chairs on that. How many can you fit, like 3 chairs and you have to wheel it around? Okay, so a 4-meter trolley. And you
I had like shelves on it.
shelves on it. And so is it like a whole chair or literally just like the bum seat area?
So it'd be either the seats or the back.
Oh my god. And
So
then
you
goes
put-
to the
yeah.
next part. Yeah.
And then they go down, they assemble it downstairs, and there's like an elevator.
Okay. Right. And since, you were saying that you basically just use like a glue gun and then you could like, cushions and stuff to seats, what's something that, the average person should look for when they're trying to buy like those kind of seats? Is the quality really bad or something?
I think like the biggest difference in the assembly of a seat would probably be like, make sure everything's center, stuff like that. It's pretty like, sometimes you can tell like the cushions off.
Yeah.
Like, they'll just put the fabric over it, but the cushion's like off center.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be like a bump or something in your chair. So like if you're buying a chair, I'd just like look at the chair, be like, okay, make
Look
sure
at the
everything's
chair.
in center.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not
well,
a chair expert by any means.
fair enough. I can see that, but I guess you got yourself like a gaming chair, and if it works, it works. Did
I just
you-
got my chair from Amazon.
Amazon? You bought it off Amazon? There's local stores that sell gaming chairs, right?
I kind of regret buying a gaming chair. I think
Why?
I should have got an office chair or something like that. Would be a bit better.
It makes your shoulders hurt. Like ergonomics aren't as good as you expected.
This chair's fine. this is just a cheap chair that I got for like $80. So it's not really like
Right.
I just got what I could have got.
Cool.
Better than the last chair I had, which like was falling apart and just hurt my back all day.
Well, that's not good. And then eventually you quit like both jobs. I remember back then, back when I told you that, I also quit my job to do casting a little bit more. And you quit all those jobs to start focusing seriously on Valorant, Nebula especially. And would you say that was when Nebula really started to like climb uphill?
I think so. Like it was kind of like I was trying to justify to myself, like, because you know, you only get one life. You know, might as well try, see what you can do with it. You know, take 6 months off. Not really too big of a deal for someone my age. Just see what you can put into a game. And I think, yeah, Valorant, Nebula at the time. I don't even know when this would have been, like 6 months ago. So since then,
Probably.
just been grinding, had very different iterations of the roster, and just been climbing, sticking with it.
So back when you first started like playing Valorant, like okay, even before Valorant first started, like you were just working 2 jobs or something, right? Just trying to get by, get through high school, work 2 jobs, and then suddenly you heard this announcement, Project A, and that's when you realized, oh, this looks like CS. I want to try grinding in this.
Well, when I was in high school, I used to just work at KFC. So like,
All right,
I wasn't
mate.
working 2 jobs back then.
Uh-huh.
Just work at KFC, cook chicken all day. But the thing about Valorant is it came out around the same time that Perth went into lockdown.
That was
So-
a while ago, a long time ago.
So that would have been about early last year.
Right.
And that mean that, you know, I didn't have to go to school. So
All right, but study from home, no?
yeah, but because of COVID, they actually had early acceptance into unis. Because
way.
like they say your ATAR could have been affected by COVID.
Yeah.
So you can use your year 11 results instead of your year 12 results. So I'd already been accepted into uni by then. So I kind of just focused mainly on Valorant. Wasn't really that focused on school. I still like got like an 88 or whatever, but like I wasn't focused on it.
Oh my god. So basically you did somewhat well in year 11, or you didn't take it fully seriously, and then like, oh fuck shit, I got invited into uni. Might as well bum around for a year, have a break.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is ridiculous. Well, crap, dude. If it works for you, but man, that sucks. That sucks. Man, where was this when I was young? I had to grind through 13 years of school, by the way. New Zealand goes to year 13, and then I have to get into
13.
uni. You finished in year 11. That's just ridiculous. Oh.
Yeah.
And you started playing Valorant. Back then, I definitely never heard of you. So did you like want to like approach Nebula, or did Nebula approach you?
So it's actually kind of interesting. The
Yeah.
when I first started playing Valorant, I just got like one of my IRL friends and like 3 random people that seemed interested at the time, and I just started playing tourneys straight away.
Yeah.
And like this team probably wouldn't have even been like top 64. Like this is back ages ago, before they even had ranked out.
Who
So,
are
like,
they?
Couldn't even tell how good they are. I don't think you would know any of these players.
Well, say them. Maybe someone in the chat might know.
Well, someone would know Paftel maybe. That's my good friend Pam,
Never heard of him.
IRL friend. Someone else called Turbs. He's
Rings
like
a bell.
immortal now.
Yeah.
Turbs. Had a guy called LMK guy. He was like a school teacher.
you had your teacher playing in the team with you.
He wasn't my school teacher. He was a school teacher.
Was he old?
Yeah, he was like pushing 40, something like, or pushing 30, something like that. It's pretty
Was he
funny.
good?
I mean, not really, but like
Okay. Then.
we weren't that serious back then. Well, I was serious. We were serious, but we weren't like that high level.
Right.
So it's not like we were like competing and like winning money or anything like that. We were just playing those 1-day tourneys that used to be the thing back then, before all the riot events. So you just wake up like 5 a.m. because Perth hours. Then have your game start at like 8, and you get like a warm up scrim at like 7. So I'm waking up at like 6 a.m. to warm up.
6. Okay, so normal people when they like wake up at 6 in the morning or like 5 in the morning. For me at least, when I woke up that early, it was to basically make some light breakfast and then go to work. Or like fitness nuts. They wake up at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. They start doing like fucking push-ups, go for the jog and shit. And you like what you do first. The first thing is like, yeah, aim training. Just gotta.
Actually, yeah, because
Rebel.
I was kind of a morning person,
Really?
so I would. Well, back then, I kind of shift
Yeah.
like randomly. Like last week, I was going to bed at like 5 a.m. It was really bad.
Pod reviews.
But then this week, I've been like waking up around like 6 a.m. So it's like a very big change in like just a week.
Do you feel better? Does it improve your performance?
I don't know about performance. I think it improves my productivity. But like, cause generally you get pretty tired by the time you're scrimming and like doing officials, cause like you're waking up at like 6, and then you're scrimming at like 5 or something like that. So
That's why you have
pretty
like
tired.
Red Bulls.
Red Bulls, yeah. Compared to waking up at like, 12 p.m. and then scrimming at 5. Yeah.
Actually, in the chat, people were saying you getting an 88 R is actually really high. So what's the highest ATAR that one can get? Because I didn't study here.
88 is not that high. Well, I don't think so. It's like the highest ATAR is 99.95. It's like a percentile.
So you were in the 80th percentile.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird because it's not just ATAR students. It's like students that aren't doing it. I'm not really sure how it works.
Oh well,
it's
because
complicated.
Because like you don't care anymore. That's it. You got into uni, whatever. That's in the past. I don't care about ATARs.
But like I always hanged out with like
Agents.
I guess you call them like the nerds or whatever.
Okay, agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, so like they were all getting like 98 ATARs, 95 ATARs, and they're just making me. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to chill.
And so it's like from the backlines, you're like, hey bro, how do you solve this question? It's like, oh, can I just have a peek at that? Is that what you were doing?
Nah, but they were very helpful.
I'm sure they
right crowd to be around, because like it's very helpful.
Mm.
They were always on my back. They're like, oh, why aren't you studying? Like when I'm playing Valorant all night.
What
like
the hell, bro?
Yeah, stuff like that. Because like obviously they had parents that were pressuring them a lot.
Mm.
So they'd like be in disbelief about how relaxed I am.
Okay, but you didn't have to tell them that you were playing Valorant.
Well, it's kind of obvious when I come into school and like got eye bags down to here, and they're like, "Oh, what did you do last night?" I'm like,
Anime.
I'm gonna tell them I studied. I'm not gonna tell them that. I'll just be honest to my mates.
Oh my god, fair enough.
Though.
Very good morals. At least you were honest about it. Also, like this question is actually, it's been in the chat for a while, and I'm pretty sure you might say something like, "Oh, I started taking 3 shots before officials." But what is the actual secret behind Nebula's success? Was it just the fact that you managed to quit your 2 jobs so you could focus more on Valorant, or you actually started taking shots of Red Bull or something pre-game?
Yeah, 2 shots of vodka, Red Bull, Jaeger bomb. Nah. I think the key to Nebula's success.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call Nebula's success. I guess it's come a long way.
Whoa! Okay. Yeah, true. And like that's also like what everyone, especially me, think of it as well. Because you said the initial Nebula roster that was just terrible, and then
that wasn't the initial Nebula roster.
Oh, okay. So then that was the second after initial, but it was still bad. So it was on the 3rd iteration when
that was
things
just
started getting better.
That was just a roster that I played with at the time. It wasn't related to Nebula. It was like the first team I played on for Valorant.
Oh,
and then I kind of jumped around. So like I went from playing on this team, and then we got rolled by some other team, but they liked me, so they picked me up.
Nebula?
Nah. Nebula's like, this is like 18 months ago. I've been on Nebula for like 12 months, even though the game hasn't been out. I don't even know when this game came out. It was something like that. I've been on Nebula for about 12 months now, though. But basically, I joined this team.
Yeah.
And they were good. And then the first player you would know would probably be Norson. So
Really?
I wanted to.
You were with Norson way back then.
So we had a team of 4 players or 5 players, but we wanted to drop someone and pick up Norson.
Right.
And Norson was playing for this team called Weekend Warriors at the moment, and we were obviously that was like kind of like a really small org,
Mhm.
and we were orgless at the time. So the org owner said, well, the Valorant manager for that org said, okay, you can have Norson, but you have to play under our team. So we
Ooh.
played for Weekend Warriors at the time.
So
And
so they were willing to drop 4 of their players just to sign you guys plus Norson.
yeah,
That's
because
sad.
yeah.
That's sad, bro.
They had like some Krunker pro on their team, like names like Hop CX or something like that.
That's fine, right?
Krunker player for Kenga.
Oh, fine.
But yeah, so we joined Weekend Warriors, and Norson got poached like 2 weeks later. So like I never really played like officials with Norson. I just scrimmed
Right.
with him a bit. I think I played like 1 or 2 officials with him. And then so Norson got poached by this team with like Moe CQ or something, and like they were building a team. It was like, you know, big CS:GO player coming over, bunch of hype. So Norson was just like, no, left us for that team. And then we played with that team for a while. It was like, I don't know if you know Devour.
Oh, rings a bell, I'll be honest, but
He subbed for Nebula a couple of times. He was like back then, like super cracked aimer. And I played with this guy called Skylar, who was a Fortnite pro.
Uh-huh.
Who got like, but he had like RSI, so we had to stop playing.
What's RSI? Because like I don't quite follow, medical stuff.
It's repetitive strain injury, I think. It's like when you get wrist pain from playing too much.
Right.
And obviously, you can't really play through it because it just gets worse and worse and worse. So it's really like the worst injury you can get as a gamer. And then after that, so the manager for that team is Centimeters, or Conrad, if you know him.
I absolutely don't. But now I do.
Well,
Nice to meet you, Conrad.
But he's the owner of Nebula now.
Yep.
So basically, we didn't like his management.
You didn't like Centimeters' management?
This is actually kind of a weird story.
Okay.
Pretty interesting story anyway.
Yeah.
So we were, also if you know Papa Smith, he was coaching that team.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's currently like, he coached Nebula as well, and now he's coaching over in EU, stuff like that. And he's a really good coach from New Zealand. But basically, so we didn't like the management because we weren't getting direct information. Like, we wanted something done, it would go through him, and then we wouldn't really know what's happening about it. So it was very confusing to play under.
Right.
So we're like, oh, we're gonna go orgless or whatever. We're gonna go leave this. We're like done with this management. And then the manager, so Conrad would call him because that's his name.
Sure. I think Centimeters is a bit of a mouthful. Conrad sounds good.
It was known as Hemo at the time. He was ex-PUBG player.
Yeah.
Basically was like, oh, okay, so we all left, but I'm gonna create an org and I'm gonna pay people to play, and I'm gonna do trials. So basically, he did trials and he picked up my roster without me. Pretty much, so it was like 2 players from my roster they picked up, and like they joined because like, they were promised salary and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't make the trial
Because you suck.
apparently, because I suck. Well,
Yeah.
I did suck back then.
Okay.
So I wasn't good enough back then for this team. And they had like a Kraken, Devour, Mooney, players like that.
Oh yeah, Mooney. That was a long time ago. Now, funny story actually. I actually know a person in real life, and he played on the same Overwatch team as Mooney. So me, him, and then Mooney afterwards, we played on a small team, and then we got completely rolled by a team with Pixelbox and everything on it in First Strike. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of players like who currently I compete against and like would even beat. That like just rolled me back then.
Wow.
Like go up against players like Straxe, He
Big
used
names.
to play for Paradox, and I don't remember what the other team was called, but he just rolled me like 13-2'd me in a game. It was on like a team with Watt and stuff, and he just like dropped a 30 bomb on my team, 13-2'd them. And then I asked him for like advice after the game, but he didn't give me any.
Get good, bro.
But yeah, so Nebula had these trials, and obviously I didn't have a team anymore because my team
Yeah.
was now Nebula,
Hmm.
and this would have been about 14 months ago,
Right.
or similar to that, probably about a year ago. And then I made my own team, which was like just a random team. Bring back some of the old players that I used to play with,
Be a school teacher.
and like Pafdel, who was my IRL mate.
Yep.
And we were just playing Cyber Game Amateur, no, LPL Amateur. That's what it's called. And I was just playing to play to get some knowledge and stuff like that.
Mm.
And then eventually they had trials again, and I retrialed for Nebula, and that's where I finally joined Nebula. And that roster was like me, Punda, Nice Hacks, Kraken, Jesse. Jesse came a bit later. At the time, it was someone. I can't even remember the name.
That's pretty
Athena
sad.
Fierce, actually.
Oh yeah.
Fierce.
I think the Pierce didn't. It wasn't on for a long time. Maybe I think it was for the Legitimate Legion games. I casted you guys like maybe once or twice, and then with Athena, and afterwards he was gone. Puff.
And then Athena Pierce just randomly left one day. He said he had to deal with like family, like shops and like deal with a family shop or something like that. And he just disappeared and never saw him again.
Right.
So he picked up Jesse, who's still on the player. So out of that roster, which would have been about 12 months ago, it's just me and Jesse remaining.
Oh damn. Because he lost Punda, he lost Nice Hacks, two good players, inconsistent at times, but they were good. And a Kraken, just a part of the Caribbean fan.
Yeah, and then I wasn't even IGLing at that point. It was a Kraken IGLing.
Mm-hmm.
And there were lots of arguments on that team. We had very different opinions on how we should play the game.
Right. How so?
And like obviously, as you can tell, like the current SOTs or Legacy,
Yeah.
and Nebula have very different play styles.
Yeah.
Well, not play styles, but like perspectives on the game, right? Like I'd say Nebula train a lot, very like try to be like, scrim a lot, VOD review a lot. We do a lot of work, and then like you can't really say the same for Legacy, which kind of just rock up and shoot heads, even though like obviously they have been practicing a lot more recently.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to take it more seriously. But it shows like that team just didn't work out. There was just very conflicting opinions on that team and how to play the game. And even though I think all the players were good individually,
Yep.
it's like the team itself just didn't work out.
Wow. Crap. And then that's when Nice Hacks Punda left, kind of. A Kraken went to do his own thing somewhere. How'd you find like the next few players? I forgot who it was. So it was Dragon, Rurals, and
Tax. Or Swab was playing on the team at that point.
yeah. So you guys just hosted trials again, and those three turned up.
Well, I actually left the team for about 2 weeks.
You did?
Yeah. So I left the team. I made a tweet. I'm like, I'm leaving Nebula, departing ways.
Right.
And my plan was to go compete in SEA. And
How?
Well, because Perth is the same distance from Sydney and Singapore, I get the same ping, and like, you need 3 players of citizenship to be considered an SEA team. So I could technically compete, as long as most of the team was from a country in SEA. Right?
That's ridiculous. So you just grab 3 randoms who are like in Singapore, and then you just find 2 like international imports, and that's a problem solved. Okay.
Yeah, so
white guy or something.
But like obviously it's very hard to get started in a new scene without any connections.
Right.
So like even though I was playing ranked and I was trying to like put my name out there, it was very hard for me to get noticed and like ranked if you play it so much and it's your main focus. Your mental just booms, I think. You just lose control of reality.
What do you mean by that? Like you lose control of reality? You start becoming like a rage monster or something, or what?
it's just like you can't control the variables in a ranked game.
Yeah.
It's very you're like only 20% of the team. You're versing a new team every time. You can't control the agent you're playing. You can't control the spots you play. You can't control
Mm.
what you're doing as a team. And when you're like mainly focused on that, like let's say, we didn't scrim, we didn't prac, we had no officials.
Yeah.
If I was like mainly focused on ranked, it just drives you insane because like so much of it is random.
So
It's hard to improve.
you would have been like a good aimer or something, but then if you came back and actually tried to join the team, you would have been shit and just get rolled.
Well, the issue is just like the actual effort of playing those ranked games.
That's
It's
also
just
true.
like because you want to get like high on the leaderboard or whatever, but
Yeah.
like at the same time, just playing 8 hours of ranked a day, you're just gonna go insane, right? And like, yeah, I was talking to people and like they're like, why does an Australian want to join my team? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I ended up like making my own little team and like playing a little bit, scrimming a bit. But it's very fun. They play very like different, like a very aggressive and kind of five stacky, like Zergy. They're like all grouped and pushing a lot. It's very different, like kind of play style to OS. It's very fun to play it and just like see how different people play, different perspectives on the game. Whole new scene, like you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about order just dominating the scene. You have like a bunch of teams, very competitive scene.
Mm.
It's actually pretty interesting, yeah.
So you would say that like the players in Southeast Asia, even the people that you played on in the team as well, like their whole attitude, their approach to the game was different to OCE. Like they loved the game and they would genuinely love playing and grinding.
Well, there's just more money, more viewers. In
Probably.
SEA, there's like an actual reason to grind. Like, if you look at OCE right now, the main issue is like, what's the point of putting in the hours, right?
To
Like, if I
qualify
put
for
in,
another qualifier.
it's like if I'm the third best team in Oceania, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And like these people aren't getting paid enough to justify the amount of time that they're putting into the game. Like they're getting less than minimum wage if you like added up the hours and stuff like that.
Yep.
And like in SEA, you have gaming houses. Like there's like all the top teams have gaming houses. Even some of the top teams, like even some smaller teams, have gaming houses, and like they have massive social media presence, massive orgs,
Yeah.
way bigger prize pool. Like I think it's like 25,000 USD for first place.
What?
Yeah, for this one, and then obviously you have 2 slots to compete
Yeah.
in Berlin and Iceland and stuff like that. So
Oh
it
my
would make
god.
sense for someone in my position to play in SEA instead of Oceania, right? Because it just, if I actually wanted to get reward for the amount of time I was putting into the game.
So how much time were you putting into the game?
Well, it's fluctuating, but generally depends how motivated I do. I do like my aim training, try play a little bit of ranked.
Yep.
And then you have scrims. Normally it's free maps, even though I don't like free maps. I prefer 2 maps, but most teams want to do free maps.
What's the
So
difference?
it's just like you want to be focused in a scrim. You want to be like working to improve on something.
Ah, right.
And when you're playing max rounds, it's like like 50-minute scrims.
Hmm?
To do 3 of them back to back, it's hard to like prepare that much theory, prepare that much work,
Right.
and actually get reward out of your scrims compared to like 2 focused scrims, if you know what I mean.
So you say prepare. What kind of like preparation do you do before a scrim?
You can do all types of preparations. Like sometimes you'll watch a pro team, see how they play, try to adopt some of their things. Sometimes you'll open up a strat rat is what we call it. It's basically a map, and then you can design defaults, design strategies, talk about what you want to do when something happens, and you might look at agent comps, might look about how to hold this site, like you might hop in a custom with your teammates, be like, okay, I'm gonna sit here, like how can you help me? Just stuff like that. Like this is very different types of theory you can do. A lot of stuff you can do. And it varies a lot day to day, stuff like that.
Right. And then back then, obviously, Southeast Asia didn't quite work out. So then eventually you quit that and came back?
Yeah, so they asked me to come back to Nebula.
They asked you.
Yeah, because I think at that point the roster was in shambles. It was like this is before it was like the dragon or the rose
Yep.
or the yeah, stuff like that.
And Nebula kept getting shat on, and then I was like, shit team, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think before that our highest placement was like 12th in first strike. So like we weren't at the top 10 team or anything like that back then.
Yep.
So like we weren't like, you know, no one was talking about Nebula pretty much. But
I
so
think
I joined.
the only time they ever mentioned Nebula back then was imagine losing to Nebula.
I mean, even now, like we don't have I don't think we have the reputation of being like a top 8 team. Well, I think we're a top 8 team, but like
You
when
are.
people talk about
Yeah.
like the top teams in Valorant, they're talking about like, oh, Mind Freak, Wildcard, Order,
Mm-hmm. Big names.
Bliss. Like we're still not, I think, to most people in that conversation on the same level as them. Like,
Why do you think that is? Is it just because you guys are young or something, or what? Or is it the teams?
I think it's a mix of things. I think it's because obviously we're not represented by a big org like most of those teams are. We have the reputation of being a bad team before. Like most of these teams, they were always at the top.
Yeah.
They didn't really start from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So you know when you're beating a team really easy, and like they're not really a threat, and then out of nowhere they become good. Well, not out of nowhere. Like slowly they become good. You're still thinking, oh,
boosted.
this is the same team, right? Like we still have that reputation of being that team that like people are gonna roll, stuff like that. We're not. Yeah.
And that doesn't like feel too good, obviously.
Well, I think it's a benefit, right? If they're underestimate you.
Ah, right, okay. And then you show up with like 3 pages of notes. I know your exact executions. I know your exact habits. I can read down to exactly, you know, I see on the map who's where. I know exactly what you're trying to do. And that's when you just show up and just completely flog them.
Yeah, well, look, I think there's been a huge amount of roster changes after we've beaten the team.
Because people
they're
realize
just like they're just like, oh, we lost to Nebula, what? And then they're just like, all right, who's the problem? Get him out.
You
Yeah, that
didn't
seems
manage to
be a
get more than
trend.
10 frags in this map versus Nebula. You're the problem. Leave.
Like if you look at the teams we beat before, like we beat Bliss,
Yeah.
and then
Monsky quit.
yeah, something like that. We
Yeah.
beat that Kanga roster.
The whole org
way
just
back
dropped
when.
them.
I think we beat the. I forget who it was. Yeah, first strike we beat a team, and I think they just disbanded or something like that. I'll get it up if I find it.
Okay. But like, actually, know what? I'll find it, and you keep telling me about, you know, the roster changes eventually.
Yeah. I think it was. It was Kanga actually.
It was Kanga, even like all the way back then.
Oh, so we versed Kanga, and it was this, like the overpower strike that's now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not now anymore, but it used to be. And then I think the org dropped them or something like that.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, if you lose to Nebula, you do something that's an issue. It's like it's pretty
You
funny.
suck.
It seems to be the
Imagine
general
losing
consensus.
to Nebula.
Yeah.
Oh
But,
goodness.
you know, as we go on, people starting to have more respect for us, stuff like that. It's not too big of a deal.
Wow.
But yeah.
And then you guys started to you know, finally finalize the roster, and you could find like a team of 5 players to really work on. That's when you could really dedicate more time, as well as quitting the 2 jobs like we talked about earlier. And then that's when Nebula started the, I'll just say, a bit of a meteoric rise.
Well, when we picked up, I think the roster, we picked up Rose and Dragon at the same time, and they both came from
Right.
the Elemental roster at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because to replace the players that were leaving here, and then we had a struggle to find a 5th for a while, and eventually we picked up Suave, and then we you know, we felt pretty good. Like we felt like our roster was pretty good, even though like maybe on paper, like there were a lot of them unknown. Like Dragon was completely unknown at the time. Rose was like really unknown. So like people weren't seeing us as strong, but
Yep.
like we knew individually that we were. So we were kind of like just unproven. That's it. And I think people underestimated us a lot back then. And then obviously, everyone thought Dragon was cracked now because but back then we knew it before they did. It was good to have him on the team.
Yep.
And then we had Suave. Suave's obviously sharp, and then Suave left the team. And
Why why did he leave? Was it around the time of Rebel or nah?
he left because of some drama. I
Okay,
won't really talk about it,
that's
but
fair,
yeah.
understandable. And then Dragon obviously got banned for the one incident of him account sharing or something.
Well, basically, what we got Tax, and obviously Tax is a really sharp player, so that
Yeah.
was a really good pickup. We kind of basically was playing for Grinch Gang, and then he left Grinch Gang to join us, and then Grinch Gang kind of disbanded because of that. And then obviously you see like Azo and join Bliss and like those players going elsewhere. But like when we had Dragon on the team, he was very like a young player wanting to prove that he was the best, working really hard. Going into strats, going into customs, like always working hard, always
Wow.
cooperating really well. And then basically because we lost the first open calls, which seems to be a Nebula classic, is you go out in the first open calls.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So we actually versed Order in the round of 16, which was pretty unlucky. And so you're allowed to have roster changes
Yeah.
between the first and second open calls.
Uh huh.
And basically I think it was like 30 minutes. 30 minutes before the second open calls roster lock. Mind Freak offered Dragon to join the team.
Half an hour before rosters get locked.
Yeah,
So
and
super last minute.
yeah, as much as everyone on the team, wanted to see Dragon succeed and play for a prestigious org like Mind Freak,
Yeah.
we also wanted to like play in the tournament.
So everyone was like, "What the fuck, man?"
And but basically we joined, like we denied the request to have Dragon on, pay the buyout or whatever, pick up
Right.
Dragon, and because of that, I think Dragon was a little bit hurt because he wanted to play for Mind Freak. He thought, oh, I should be playing
Oh,
for Mind
so
Freak.
it wasn't his decision.
No, it wasn't his decision. He wanted to join,
Right.
but obviously because he was signed to Nebula,
Yep.
and we would have had to forfeit the whole VOT second one, which we finished fourth in.
Yeah, pretty good.
So like, obviously we didn't want to do that because we'd all been practicing for like about a month leading up to that. We just want to throw that all away.
Oh man.
So we said no. Like we didn't even have time to find a fifth
Yep. Of course.
or prac or anything like that. If we did, so they went with Calf, ran with Calf at the time, and basically, I think Dragon was upset, and basically, he had the idea that okay, as soon as VOT ends and the roster locks are done, he's basically decided that he's going to Mind Freak.
Okay.
So like
So
he
VOT
wasn't
ends
really.
as in the whole thing, like the whole year long thing, or just that
Oh,
stage?
just the second stage.
Right.
So basically, he wasn't like motivated to train with us and stuff like that anymore. He was
Ah,
basically like,
right.
yeah, I'm on the way out.
See ya,
So
bitches.
right before VOT ended, we ended up like, well, we can't train with this guy anymore. He doesn't want to be here. We ended up kicking Dragon. So which is why we played the ESL with a different player.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we played ESL with a different player to Dragon, but then we ended up, even though Dragon was kicked because of Russell Lux, he ended up playing VOT finals with us, and we finished fourth. And basically, still decided that he was going to Mind Freak, and basically, so Mind Freak, dropped Calf in preparation to get Dragon, and then Dragon kind of got banned.
Yeah. So
which is unfortunate timing.
Mind Freak, they was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. So he goes ahead and plays an LPL game under someone else's name.
Yep,
Gets banned for like 6 months, whatever. And
and that's it.
at that point, Mind Freak had already gotten rid of Calf,
Right.
and they didn't want him back. So we thought, okay, we'll pick up Calf. And because we thought he was sharp, I talked
Mm.
to all the Mind Freak players. They had good stuff to say about him.
Yeah.
So we were pretty happy with that. We just picked up Calf and kept going.
So just a full like reverse Uno card situation, kind of.
I mean, I think it worked out pretty well for us and
Yeah.
pretty bad for our competitor, which is what you want in a competitive game. But it's very unlucky. Like, I'd love to see Dragon succeed. That guy has a lot
Mm.
of talent and a lot of potential. So it's not always like I felt bad for him. See this guy 16, 15 get banned for 6 months. That's a long time at that age, and
Well, it's
he could be
already
playing on
over.
a top tier team right now.
Yeah. But then now you guys picked up a Kelth, Gary Howard, the guy with two first names, and so far you can probably agree that he's been performing decently well, or like
Yeah, well,
still a little bit more to like slot into the team.
Half was very different from Dragon in terms
Oh.
of like you have a 15, 16-year-old player with no competitive experience
Mm-hmm.
to picking up someone who's I don't want to get his age wrong or get offended, like 48 or something.
Is he 48?
I'm joking.
Jesus, that's rough, man.
No, he's like I'd say 24, I think. I'm not sure.
Oh,
I keep
so
I keep asking him and he gets offended. Because I keep
why does
forgetting.
he get offended?
No, I think I asked him and it seemed bad. Like he told me something
Yeah.
and I asked like, "Oh, how old are you?" Like, and he thought it was like an insult.
So what was he like talking about claiming a Centrelink pension or something? Like, bro, how fucking old are you, man? What the fuck you
No, I
doing?
was talking about like a relationship, and I was just like, "Oh, how old are you?" He's like, "What?" But yeah, and yeah. So basically, like you have a player that's played at the highest level,
Yeah.
or not at the highest level. He's played pretty high level in CS. So he's got a lot of experience. He knows how good teams work. He knows what makes a good team, what makes a bad team,
Hmm.
and he's a very strong voice in the team, which is very different from what Dragon was. Because Dragon was more of a chill, laid back, do whatever the IGL says kind of guy.
Go kill, he goes kills. But Kalth is what? He's more like vocal and like a strong voice isn't like multi kill, triple kill. What do you mean?
Well, he provides a lot to Fury, provides a lot to how we practice,
Right.
how we develop. He comes up with ideas, and he's not scared to speak up. He knows what he's talking about, and like he'll notice if something's off. And like he has these ways on from experience on what he knows works for the team. So he knows like in the past what's made a team fail, and so he's seen some errors in our game, like the way we
Okay.
approach the game, like burnout stuff like that. He's like, all right, yeah, we gotta fix this. This is too much. But yeah,
Rap. So all things considered, the pickup was actually pretty damn pog. You get a good firepower player, and you also get someone who contributes to like the theory and like strats.
yeah. Well, if you look at Nebula back then, it was like Rose was 15,
What the?
Tax was 17,
Okay.
Dragon 16, and then you have Jesse, who I'm not gonna guess his age because I forgot it. But basically, and I'm 18, obviously. So it was a very young team, and we
Yeah.
didn't have someone who had that experience.
Right.
So
Right.
it's good to have a mix, I think, of like upcoming talent and like like you kind of have the person who teaches them, like guides
Yep.
them,
Yep.
trains them, stuff like that, like the veteran experience. So it's good to have Calf on board
Hmm.
when we already have so many young players on our team who need that kind of experience.
Right. Oh my god. So just like in the chat, I was just about to say about Incognic, he got it ahead of me, just like 100 Thieves, how you have like, Nitro, no, not Nitro, like Steel and Hiko, really old ass people, and then they bring the young guns who are just cracked reflexes, and basically they teach them how to play the game.
Yeah, well,
Kinda.
there's no point like repeating the same mistakes or like
Right.
reinventing the wheel. Like I can try to find the best way to practice as a team,
Hmm?
but there's people that have been doing that for years. Like CS has been out since like the 2000s, 1990s, whatever.
It's
So
before you were born.
yeah, before I was born. So like, there's no point me coming up and trying to figure out the best way to prac when, it should be an evolution of the past. So to have someone come in that can point out the mistakes, it's not me trying to guess the best way. Like they
Yeah.
know, they can kind of steer us in the right way, and it's really good for us.
And then now Nebula looking pretty strong going forward. OC champs, man. What about like 3 weeks out? How's prep going?
Yeah. We've been kind of well, coming out of VOT. It's very kind of different. To like, especially when it's back to back to back to back playing.
Right.
So BO3 after BO3 after BO3. To going back into practice, it's very different, and even the way you scrim and stuff is very different. Because obviously, when you're playing in a team and an official,
Yeah.
um, you kind of like I will call based on what I know that they do. But when you're scrimming and pracking, you're kind of everything's general. Obviously, I'm not bod reviewing the team that I'm scrimming,
Right.
so it's not like you kind of have to go back to playing like what you think is the best way instead of what you think is the best way against them. So it's kind of different. We're taking like a little break right now because of VO2, and then we're hoping to get back into it. But I think we're gonna be pracking tomorrow anyway. So basically, just like a 2 day break this weekend. If
A
that's
two
really a
a
break.
2 day break. Well, damn, man. Usually a break means like a week or something, but you guys don't really have the time.
Well, that's the thing with the schedules, and like even like we would love to take a longer break, but we have LPL
Yeah.
tomorrow anyway. So like that's already
Brr.
scheduled. So it's hard to
Legends.
take a bigger break.
Right.
Yeah. And like obviously you only have 2 weeks to prep anyway. I think it's like the 7th or something when we play again against Wildcard. So it's gonna be tough. Tough to, be relaxed and invent new stuff
Hmm.
when you only have a short amount of time. So it's more about just finding form.
Refining as well.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen your notes and I can't really make sense of it, I'll be honest, but they look very in depth. I'll give you that. And now the last question I'm really just curious about, right? So when you do play for a day, let's say for like 6 hours or something like that, like what's your diet look like? Because you can't surely just survive off of Red Bulls.
Um well, I wake up in the morning and I go have migraine pretty
You,
religiously.
seriously, every morning,
Yeah. Get the like packet of migraine.
consistency.
Yeah. And then I get like gotta get some chili in there to wake you up.
How much? You're,
How much?
you're pretty white though, so I don't know how much like chili you can take. I'll be honest.
Well, my mom has this chili oil because my mom's half Sri Lankan, right?
Whoa. Your mum's half Sri Lankan. You look like
Yeah.
the whitest guy I know. How's that? How's that possible? How's that possible?
Well, my grandmother was come over here at like the age of 13
Right.
from Sri Lanka and married my grandfather, who came over from Italy. So it was kind of weird, like an Italian Sri Lankan mix. So like yeah,
Holy shit.
but so going back to the chili, after my mom has this like
Yeah.
chili oil
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Of course.
So normally I'll have like a teaspoon of chili oil, and then I'll add some like 2 or 3 chilies in there,
Actual
and then I'll just
chilies.
eat it. Yeah, so I have like we have like 3 different types of chilies. We have like Caroline Reapers and stuff, like all those hot ghost chilies. Like my family's addicted to chili, especially my mom. So like I've got a bunch of chilies in the freezer.
Are you good with
But
spice? Because like
and we
it's
have grow chilies in the backyard actually. Yeah, I eat pretty spicy, I'd say. I like spice.
what the hell? I've not seen this coming. I expect you to like wake up in the morning, like have a pie, maybe a little bit of toast, coffee at the most, maybe a bit of tea. Maybe I'm stereotyping, but you tell me you have mee goreng. Okay, dry or with water? Because chat is dying to know.
What do you
Like,
try?
do you fully like tip out all the water and then you mix in the spice so it's like really dry, or like a stir fry sort of texture, or do you like
Yeah,
leave some water in so it's still slurpable?
I think it's better dry, I would say.
Dude, you
I
are
think
at yeah.
Some noodles are better like the other way, but I think the mee goreng tastes better dry.
Dude, you are a freak, man. To have dry mee goreng and then you put chilies into it. I don't see this coming. I'm very impressed. So, and then that's your breakfast, lunch, or do you skip lunch entirely?
Depends. I have a coffee, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I like drinking black coffee. So
Damn.
like, and I have like a grinder and stuff. So I like grind up the coffee. And
Are
like,
you
yeah,
like a coffee aficionado?
not really. I'm trying to get more into it, but cause like I need to get some like high quality coffee beans, you know.
Oh, so this is the
That's the
like this
goal.
is the Italian heritage in you. You gotta have really high quality coffee, high
Yeah,
quality
but like
beans,
the ones I
grinder.
have right
Yeah.
now aren't that high quality.
Okay.
And I bought a kilo of them, so I've got to get through them.
Holy
But I just
shit.
grind them up, and then
What brand?
I couldn't tell you what brand. It's like Woolworths brand coffee beans. But yeah, but it's only something I got into recently
Yeah.
because like I don't know, I wanted to have more coffee.
Your grandparents in Italy will be rolling in their graves right now hearing that you bought like Woolworths brand coffee. Another question actually: how many hours of sleep do you get a night? Because I understand like a while back, especially during regional finals, you didn't get a lot of sleep. You were up all night watching VODs.
It depends. I always try it. Like I think like mental health just probably when the whole game's mental,
Yep.
you have to be sharp mentally, right?
Right.
So like I always try to get like 8 hours, 7 hours sleep, regardless of the situation. I'm really bad with sleep. Like I've always struggled to sleep, so it's not something that happens easy to me.
Yeah, I can tell because like it's kind of obvious there, mate. But so hours of sleep you try at least, and mental. So going back to the mental, that's why you religiously have mee goreng every morning for breakfast, full consistency.
Um, I mean it's kind of like phases, right? Like
What do you mean? Today I'll have two chilies. Tomorrow I'll have a Reaper.
no, it's like
I want to
I'll
shit
go
myself.
like a whole month just eating mee goreng for breakfast,
That is nasty. Holy
and
crap.
then like the next month I might just eat like a chicken wrap for breakfast or something.
So do you have to like vary between your heritages? This month I'll have like really standard, not so spicy food, and then the very next I'm gonna absolutely kill my bum.
Yeah. Not really. Well, like my mom's a good cook, and
I'm sure
like
she is. Yeah, curries.
I love curry,
Jesus
but like
Christ.
but like the because of obviously the heritage, like the main things that like I really like is like curry and pasta, right? So
this is
kind of
this is
like that, I guess.
this is ridiculous. This is like the most like unexpected thing like I can find out about you right now. Just looking at you playing, and you tell me that this guy eats like spice and curries and pasta. Oh my god. Okay, then how does dinner look? Like, what does your mum usually make?
My mom's very experimental.
Just like you and Nebula.
So like she will cook like the anything pretty much. Like it'll be
Yeah.
like Mexican or like I don't even know. She made like this Russian thing the other day that I had no idea what it was.
Soup.
Nah, it was like I thought it was pasta, but it wasn't pasta. I don't know what it was like. She told me what it was called, but I forgot the name.
Was it taste good? Did it
Yeah, it's
taste good
pretty
though?
good.
Yeah.
It was like yeah, I don't know what it was, but it tasted alright.
It was
And
pasta, but not pasta.
sometimes it's hit or miss. Sometimes she'll try some crazy stuff, and
Yeah.
then I'm just gonna pretend to like it. Other times it's like you know
What what
really.
happens if you're like, Mum, this sucks?
I don't think I've ever done that.
Right. And you're afraid that if you do, then she's like, she'll like pull out the stick or something.
Sick.
I'm like, no.
And it's just like there's no consequence, I'd say, but I just out of respect.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair because she does like cook, very nice meals for you and everything.
But like sometimes she like say something's good and then she cooks it again. And you're like, you wish you didn't say it was good.
Okay, so then like, what's the worst dish that she's made for you? Because I'm pretty sure she won't be watching this back, but if she
The
does, just
worst
like
dish,
skip the end.
the worst dish she's made for me.
Yeah.
Mm, I can't really say on top of my head. Trying to think.
Are you scared, bro? Is she like outside your door just listening?
I'm actually checking like
What's this little fucking shit about to say?
oh, I don't know. She tried some crazy things like different types of passes and stuff that
Okay.
just were not good. Or like I would say for me like she tried to do like some noodles. Like she tries to make like her own like migareng kind of thing, like her own soy sauce and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it just tastes.
So
I won't
she's
say anything.
fine. So she saw you making like eating migareng every morning, and she's like, "Oh, I want to try making something healthy for my boy," and then makes this fucking like abomination of noodles. And if she makes her own soy sauce, that is nasty. Holy
Yeah, it
shit.
wasn't optimal. I don't think.
It wasn't optimal. All right, bro. Fair enough, man. All right, cool. Tell you what, man. This has been a very great chat. I love it. And there is one final question, and Cognic, I'm pretty sure this guy's dying to know. What is Nebula's goals moving forward?
I think long term, obviously, the only goal you can have in OC is to become a top 2 team.
Yeah.
It'd be silly to be like, yeah, I want to become top 3 and do nothing and earn no money
Up
and never
to,
go to an
and
egg.
then escape to North America.
But we're not too short termed. Like we're not thinking, oh, we're gonna get top 2 in regionals.
Right.
You know, we're like, okay, if we just keep it competitive, keep it competitive area,
Mm-hmm.
we'll eventually get there. So
Good.
yeah, so get top 2. Maybe not this year. Hopefully next year, we come up with a stronger team.
Mm.
But obviously, anything can happen. You can't really plan long term in esports. Roster changes happen every day. But we'll see how we go.
Well, we will indeed, and I'll be keeping close eye on your progress because Nebula, the progress has been obviously amazing. I say it time and time again, every single time if I cast one of your games, because I remember the days when you guys were just absolute dog shit, and then now it's like, holy crap, they have the potential to beat Mind Freak, Wildcard, all that kind of stuff. They can do it. It just comes up to the prep and like, I would
Yeah.
say who shows up on the day.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. Minimize. Now, final thing. What is going on in your life? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to shout out? Any projects? Tell the audience. Let them hear.
Well, recently I've been streaming a lot on Twitch.
Oh, yeah?
I'm gonna be streaming like weekdays next week pretty consistently. So come check me out. Twitch.tv/minimizeoc. Obviously check out the Twitter, check out the team Twitter,
Hmm.
and shout out to Papa Smith, the best coach.
Perfect, man. Well, guys, you heard the man. He'll be streaming on his channel next week. He has started recently, and it has been pretty fun to watch, I'll be honest. Sometimes, maybe, if time allows, you might catch me on the stream as well, playing with him. I might be shit, he might carry me, but that's how the standard thing goes. I'm not just a caster, right? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in for the first episode of Click Clack Chit Chat. Thank you, Minimise, as my pilot premiere guest. It's been great and almost an honor to have you on. Guys, I'm Digital Cast. That's my handle right there. If you like this content, follow this channel, follow me on Twitter. And next time, I'll announce my next guest earlier, so you guys can maybe ask a few questions, send it to me, and maybe I'll ask him on stream and see what happens. Minimise, thank you very much for coming, and I wish you the best.
Thanks, mate. Have a good night.